With Christmas and a new year on the horizon, I fully expect we'll have a pretty substantial countdown sale coming our way towards the latter part of December. But until that time comes, Xbox have provided us with a pretty decent publisher spotlight sale on the Xbox Store, and quite a few of these games today are at the lowest prices that we've ever seen. Honestly, I can't believe Christmas is just around the corner these days as time flies so bloody quickly, but do remember I will be doing a 12 days of Xbox Nation promotion starting within the next couple of days, so make sure to subscribe down below as I will be doing a few giveaways and a little bit more bings as well. Remember though, I do give away a free Xbox game though on these sales videos every single week. All you have to do is just comment below and you're automatically going to be entered. Just to let you know as well, it will be 2 games in next week's video, so get commenting, and that's because a lovely member of our community wanted to gift that game key back to someone else, which is just so incredibly wholesome. Congratulations to last week's winner as well. Just hit me up on our awesome Xbox Nation Discord server with the link below and I'll get that game right over to you. With that and enough waffling from me, and let's dive right into the deals you need to grab for this week. You may have been aware by now, but Red Dead Redemption just received a re-release onto Xbox this week with a native Xbox Series X and S version, and so far it's actually been pretty well received across the board. I have actually been playing this one as I really wanted to revisit John Marston and also have a go at that cracking Undead Nightmare expansion. Surprisingly though, the 360 version is no longer available to buy digitally on the Xbox Store, so the only option now is the Xbox Series X and S version of this game, which does kind of suck as the multiplayer is non-existent as it's only a single player experience. It is worth noting though that you do get the 360 version if you do buy this version though, so at least you can still get access to it if you really want to. Still, you get a really decent upgrade here itself with 4K resolution on the X and 1440p over on the Series S, and that's all got 60 FPS throughout and stuff like upgraded textures and so much more. It might seem a little bit expensive, especially at that £25 price tag, but for the amount of content I do recommend it, especially as I doubt we'll see another sale on this one really soon, or a price less than this for quite some time. For me, Clair Obscur has to be my immediate game of the year, but even though Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is not at my #1 slot, it comes in so bloody close. I absolutely fell in love with this one, and I was so shocked, especially as I've never played the first entry. I am so glad that I took a chance on this game earlier in 2025, because the story of Henry, the world of Bohemia, and just the amount of detail put in this game is actually quite jaw-dropping, to be honest. The NPCs really do react to you in a way that I've never experienced before, and they will remember you, and the realism they incorporated is actually quite phenomenal. I have yet to find another open world game that looks this good visually, and the added DLC they brought out over this year as well has pretty much excelled at expanding that great narrative. I will say it can get quite difficult at time to time, certainly in the combat elements, and some may think it's a little bit janky, but trust me, stick this one out and you'll understand why it's a true gem. For 50% off is easily one of my biggest recommendations of this entire week. If you are someone who misses the golden age of 3D platformers, especially with what we saw on the Xbox 360, then Akimbot is a real blast from the past, but is a lot shinier, louder, and faster than its contemporaries in the same genre. In this one though, you play as X, a wisecracking robot mercenary with a penchant for explosions, as you'll be blasting your way through loads of vibrant sci-fi worlds full of enemies, gadgets, and really over-the-top set pieces. The gameplay in this one actually does a really great job though of mixing a variety of elements like shooting and platforming, and it feels like straight out something from that sort of PS2 and 360 era. It doesn't take itself too seriously either, and that's kind of the charm here, as every level bursts with so much colour, humour and spectacle. It is only £4.79 this week with a 70% discount, and is an easy win, especially if you're craving a dose of old school action with modern flair. Think of it kind of like Ratchet and Clank meets Mega Man, and that's Akimbot in a real nutshell. Scars Above might have flown under your radar, but at just £3.74 is a sci-fi action adventure that's just well worth checking out. I have actually mentioned this one a couple of times here on the channel in these sales videos before, but that's because I really did enjoy my time with this one. You essentially take control of a doctor named Kate Ward, who's a scientist stranded on a hostile alien planet, and while the setup sounds pretty familiar to others within the same genre, the gameplay is surprisingly engaging. You can think of it like Returnal meets Remnant, but with a heavier focus on story and exploration. What really hooked me was the mix of different puzzle solving, scanning alien tech, and then strategic third-person combat using elemental weapons. You're not just a soldier, so the fights do require smart thinking rather than brute force, so ultimately it is a Souls-like at heart. It's not the biggest or flashiest game for sure on this list today, but it really nails the atmosphere, and for that price point is a solid weekend adventure. Yakuza Like a Dragon has it all, from its dramatic highs, staggering lows, and just hilarious muddles. In this one though, you play as Ichiban Kasuga, a Yakuza grunt who has basically lost everything and has to rebuild his life with the help of his friends. Where the previous Yakuza games though were a little bit more action orientated, Like a Dragon is a turn-based RPG and offers a loving homage to the likes of Final Fantasy and also Dragon Quest. Whilst the game sometimes does deal with some really heavy themes like family and regret, Like a Dragon is also laugh out loud funny, and it does revel in its absurdity of its own characters. There are so many oodles of minigames as well, as you kind of expect from these Yakuza games these days, and it ranges from picking up trash on a bike to some surprisingly catchy karaoke set pieces, which you will definitely be singing along to. Honestly, Like a Dragon is one of the best RPGs available on Xbox to this day, and for just £8 this week, you get all of the added benefits of the Hero Edition, which makes this such a fantastic package. Star Wars Outlaws is on a fairly decent discount, specifically for the Gold Edition, and you can actually grab it for £31.50. This actually brings it to the lowest price yet, and personally, I do heavily recommend it at this price point, as I really enjoyed my time with this one. This one though puts you in the shoes of Kay Vess, who's an outlaw, as she's navigating the edges of galactic society. This is the first true open world Star Wars game, and it really did deliver on that scale though, along with its freedom, as you'll be able to travel from different bustling cities to the desolate Outer Rim planets. I know the game was very mixed upon its launch, as I saw so many opinions online, and some of them are still pretty negative around this one. However, if you do check it out and play it now, it's a totally different game thanks to those massive overhauls. The stuff like combat, stealth, and AI are way better than what it launched with, and I would even edge my review up to an 8 out of 10 these days. It's still not my favourite Star Wars game, as Battlefront and Star Wars Jedi definitely trump this one, but this game doesn't justify the amount of hate it gets online, so it's definitely worth playing. For £11 this week, you can get a very deep and stylish JRPG with moody cityscapes, jazzy synth grooves, and a cast that grows on you as the story unfolds. Soul Hackers 2 is just one RPG that always seems to be slept on, but it is one that does an awesome job of blending neon cyberpunk style with classic turn-based demon fusion mechanics. You will play as Ringo, an artificial being that's tasked with preventing a world aimed in collapse, and the narrative really leans into themes of memory, identity, and human connection. The combat is very sleek and streamlined, especially for a turn-based game, and it includes what they call a sort of Sabbath system, which is also pretty rewarding with its smart elemental targeting. The Digital Deluxe Edition, which I'm highlighting, also adds the likes of boosters, cosmetics, and extra content, and really does smooth out the progression and expand your customization. Again, this is a really decent JRPG that reviewed incredibly well across the board on release, so I highly recommend that you put this one on your radar. Undisputed took a completely different approach compared to others within this genre, as it really aimed for realism above anything else. There is none of that sort of arcade flash here, but instead it leans on the technical nuance of boxing, that being footwork, angles, stamina management, feints, and even timing that feels almost rhythmic. Punches have a ton of weight as well, and fights can turn in an instant if you misjudge a step or just drop your guard. The roster is also massive here, which spans the likes of champions, legends, and rising stars, and they've all been recreated with some impressive authenticity. The career mode also lets you shape your own fighter style, strengths, and training regimen, offering a deeper look at the sport than most other boxing games. At £20, it's the most detailed and simulation-focused boxing title that we've seen in years, and I know it's a big hit, especially amongst many fans of the boxing community. I absolutely love zombie games, and Dead Island 2 really embraces the sun-soaked apocalypse with a sense of style that makes zombie slaying feel almost sort of cheerful, to be honest. LA is a vibrant and colourful world, and it's packed with just so many things for you to do right out the gates. What I love about it most though is that everything within the environment can essentially double up with weapons, and that means using stuff like kitchen tools and just anything sharp enough for you to swing. The flesh system is also the star of the entire show here, as every hit visibly carves zombies apart into gruesome, hilarious detail. Myself and many out there were actually really shocked that this game came out of its development hell cycle, and somehow they absolutely nailed everything that we wanted. It also got some fantastic DLC, which is certainly worth diving into or potentially putting on your radar, and the co-op is also a massive highlight. For just £14.50, this is such a great price for a great zombie FPS. Now, if you just think back like me to the good old days of the Xbox 360, you probably know of the original Trials game, and honestly, that was some of the funniest moments I've ever experienced in my entire years of playing games. If you want to have more of those laughs though, and try to challenge yourself to some insane courses, then let me introduce you to Trials Rising, and it will definitely need to be in your basket as soon as possible. This one, of course, does take that humble motorbike and turns it into a game that's part platformer, part physics puzzle, and part sort of, why did I think I could even make that jump? The track's escalate from playground obstacles to globe-trotting insanity, as you'll be launching yourself across collapsing landmarks, bouncing off explosive crates, and trying not to scream when a perfect run collapses at that final ramp. The Gold Edition also gives you some extra tracks and customization options, so it does stretch the chaos even further, which is nice to see. At £5, it's such a phenomenal challenge for players who love mastering tricky mechanics, and you'll just have so much fun with this one. Alien Isolation still remains one of the scariest games that's ever been created, and I've still not been able to bring myself to play this one after so many years. I have seen so many playthroughs though and reviews on this one, and I don't think we've ever seen a game that really makes enclosed corridors and the slow beeping on your monitor so gut-wrenching. The Xenomorph is ultimately what you'll be hiding from, and this AI isn't scripted. It actually hunts you down dynamically by sniffing out noise, shadows, and mistakes. Every vent creak becomes a threat, every locker hiding place is really a gamble, and that retro-futuristic design pays homage to the original film, which I loved, and is so complete with its clunky monitors, blinking lights, and hissing doors. It's slow, it's deliberate, and it's incredibly suffocating in the best way, and I think for just under £9, you're getting an absolute masterclass within the horror genre. Unicorn Overlord is a lavish tactical RPG that actually blends grand strategy alongside real-time movement into a richly detailed character progression system, and it's all in a sweeping epic fantasy game. You will command armies across different continents by forging alliances, liberating towns, and then shaping your kingdom's fate through political decisions. The battles look like sort of elegant tapestries of formation planning alongside class synergy and hero abilities that reward 4-4 over brute force. The Monarch Edition adds a lot of bonus content as well, and also cosmetics to flesh out your forces even further, so it's certainly worth picking up if you get the chance. The art direction is stunning though, and I really love these sort of painterly landscapes, the ornate unit portraits, and just the expressive animations that evoke classic fantasy while feeling very modern. For £21, you're getting such a deep and regal strategy experience packed with tactical nuance and world-building charm. I'll just come out and say it, there's nothing quite else on this list today like Wild Bastards, and if you're unfamiliar with this one, it's essentially a roguelike and a tactics game, but there's also a space western with foul-mouthed gang of outlaws thrown into the mix. Every mission here kind of plays out as you kind of expect though, it's all on a grid where careful positioning matters and you're making choices about survival, crew upgrades, and so much more. The real magic is just how personality oozes from every corner of this game. The characters bicker, they even crack jokes, and make the journey feel more alive than just a series of different battles. With a 75% markdown for this week, the price lands at just under £7, and that's an absolute steal for this indie gem. I absolutely love Hellblade, and I was so excited when we finally received Hellblade 2 last year. Don't get me wrong, I would never recommend a game at this full price because it's definitely not a long experience by any means, but for the price listed for this week, it's an essential grab for any Xbox owner. You probably know this is a direct follow-up and has us travelling through Iceland as Senua as she's still dealing with her trauma in order to save her people. Nearly every aspect of the first game has been improved here, be it the visuals or the new combo-based combat system. From photorealistic graphics, environmental puzzles, and plenty of lore and collectibles for you to uncover, this title makes for a perfect single-player experience. We even had a 60 FPS update for the Xbox Series X consoles, not the S, earlier this year, which was great to see, and for £12.50, that is a bloody bargain. This next bundle is easily one of the best narrative shooter trilogies that's ever been made. The Metro Saga bundle included likes of Metro 2033 Redux, Last Light Redux, and Metro Exodus, and these are 3 games that take you from claustrophobic underground tunnels to the hauntingly beautiful post-apocalyptic Russian wilderness. These games do such a fantastic job though of balancing the tense survival mechanics with deep storytelling alongside their world building, and that's why so many love this franchise. You're never just blasting enemies like some mindless shooters out there, instead you'll be scavenging, managing resources, and soaking in that bleak atmosphere. Right now this bundle is just £5, which is such insane value for 3 critically acclaimed games. I will say I have recommended this bundle before, but now is the best price that I've ever seen, so it's definitely worth picking up as soon as possible. Well, that sums up the sales for this week, and I tell you what, there's actually some pretty decent deals here. Of course, do remember as well that the 12 days of Xbox Nation will be coming up. I believe it'll be this Saturday, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you have your subscriptions on and also notifications as well so you don't miss out, as I will be giving away a few games, doing some more sort of competitions and a little bit more, so it'd be great to sort of see you all come to the channel and just comment below and have a really good time. Honestly, this holiday season is looking pretty stacked, so I can't wait to bring you some more amazing content, some make sure obviously to subscribe. With that though, and if you do want to check out some more amazing content here on the channel, why don't you check out the video on screen now? I actually recently covered the 20 best open world games available on Xbox Game Pass, and this is a huge update, especially as I covered a video earlier this year, but so many games on our original list have now actually left the service, and we've had so many great ones being added in this very short time period.